Konnichiwa, minasan. O genki desu ka? Welcome to the intermediate course of my channel. Let's learn Japanese with Eric. In this lesson, we learn how to say, while I do this, I also do that, using the conjugation nagara. Yoroshii desu ka? Ja, hajimemashou. In this lesson, we will learn how to express the temporal conjunction while in Japanese, such as when you say, I study while listening to music. Here, you're doing two actions at the same time, and the conjunction while introduces the subordinate clause. In Japanese, we say, 私は音楽を聞きながら勉強します. Like all the other conjunctions and modalities that we've learned so far, the tense of the sentence is decided by the verb in the main clause. In this case, 勉強します or study, and not by the subordinate clause, 音楽を聞きながら or while I listen to music. We use the temporal conjunction nagara by attaching it to the conjunctive form of the verb. Nagara indicates two active actions done simultaneously by the same agent. The agent must do the two actions over a period of time. This conjunction is useful to describe multitasking. If the two actions are done by different persons, we use another temporal conjunction called aida, which we will learn in lesson 60. We also use aida to say while for nouns and adjectives. Nagara is only used for verbs. Let's take a second look at our earlier example, the sentence, I study while listening to music. We have one agent doing two actions at the same time, study and listening to music. The main clause is I study, and the subordinate clause is while listening to music. The subordinate clause takes nagara, and the tense is decided by the verb in the main clause, study. And in Japanese, we say, 私は音楽を聞きながら勉強します. While in an English sentence, you have the option to place the subordinate while clause at the beginning and say, while listening to music, I study, or at the end, like you see here. In Japanese, you must put the nagara clause in the beginning. If you recall the 10 basic verb conjugations which we tackled in lessons 26 to 30 for each verb category, the conjugation that we use for nagara is the conjunctive form of the verb. How do you make the conjunctive form? The easiest is that if you know the mas form of the verb, just drop mas, and what's left is the conjunctive form, to which you attach nagara directly. But if you didn't know mas forms, but know the dictionary form of the verb, here's how you make them. For ru dropping or category 1 verbs, let's take the verb taberu, which means to eat, as our example. Simply drop the ru ending. What's left is the conjunctive form, tabe, and to it, add nagara to form tabenagara, which means while eating. For last hiragana changing verbs or category 2 verbs, here are the 9 kinds of endings: kugusu, bumunu, rutsu, and u. These endings change to the I series, turning to kigishi, bimini, richi, and I. Then to these new endings, add nagara. As for the 5 commonly used irregular verbs, only suru, kuru, and iku participate in the nagara conjugation, because aru and da are not active verbs and so cannot be used. The conjunctive of suru is shi, that of kuru is ki, and that of iku is iki. Then to these conjunctive endings, add nagara. Let's look at sample sentences. Let's practice making the nagara conjugation with one example for each kind of verb. For a ru dropping verb, our example is akeru, to open. Akenagara. Akenagara means while opening. Now on to category 2 verbs. Note that the last hiragana of the dictionary form changes to the I series, and this is highlighted in red here, so it's easy for you to see. For ku ending, our example is aruku, to walk. Arukinagara. Arukinagara means while walking. For gu ending, Oyogu means to swim, and oyoginagara means while swimming. For su ending, hanasu means to speak, and hanashinagara means while speaking. For bu ending, asobu means to play, and asobinagara means while playing. Mu ending, yomu means to read, and yominagara means while reading. There's only one new ending verb in the whole Japanese language, and that is shinu, to die. Shininagara means while dying. For ru ending, tsukuru means to make, and tsukurinagara means while making. For tsu ending, we have matsu, which means to wait. Machinagara means while waiting. U ending, kau means to buy, and kainagara means while buying. And on to category 3 verbs. Iku means to go, and ikinagara means while going. Kuru means to come, and kinagara means while coming. For compound suru verbs, it is the suru part that we conjugate. Benkyou suru means to study, and benkyou shinagara means while studying. I eat breakfast while watching TV. The main clause is I eat breakfast, and the subordinate clause is while watching TV, which in Japanese is terebi wo minagara. The whole sentence in Japanese is Watashi wa terebi wo minagara asagohan wo tabemasu. Watashi wa terebi wo minagara asagohan wo tabemasu. She sang while dancing. Main clause, she sang. Subordinate clause, while dancing, or odorinagara. The whole sentence in Japanese is Kanojo wa odorinagara utaimashita. Kanojo wa odorinagara utaimashita. Mom washes the dishes while thinking of various things. Mom washes the dishes is our main clause, and while thinking of various things is the subordinate clause, which translates in Japanese to ironna koto o kangae nagara. The whole thing in Japanese is Okaasan wa ironna koto o kangae nagara sara o araimasu. Okaasan wa ironna koto o kangae nagara sara o araimasu. I like to listen to music while driving. The main clause is I like to listen to music, and the subordinate clause that takes nagara is while driving, or unten shinagara. The whole sentence in Japanese is unten shinagara ongaku wo kiku no ga suki desu. Unten shinagara ongaku wo kiku no ga suki desu. The sentence uses no to nominalize the verb clause before it, turning the whole thing into a noun clause. You can review nominalization using no in lesson 44. The sentence also uses ga suki, a useful expression that you can review in lesson 7 on expressing likes and dislikes. Knowing it was wrong, she stole the money. We can also reword this to while knowing it was bad, she stole the money. She stole the money is the main clause, and while knowing it was bad is the subordinate clause, which in Japanese translates to warui to shirinagara. We use the particle to here to indicate a quotation, and the whole sentence in Japanese is warui to shirinagara kanojo wa okane o nusunda. Warui to shirinagara kanojo wa okane o nusunda. Because it's rude, don't talk with your mouth full. We can rephrase this to because it's rude, don't talk while eating. Because it's rude, don't talk is our main clause, and while eating is our subordinate clause, or tabenagara. The whole thing in Japanese is 失礼ですから、食べながら話すな。失礼ですから、食べながら話すな。Hanasana is a rough command, and you can review how to make rough commands in lesson 41. Let's talk over beer. You can rephrase this to, let's talk while drinking beer. Let's talk is our main clause. While drinking beer is the subordinate clause, which in Japanese is, biiru wo nominagara. Translating, biiru wo nominagara hanasou. Biiru wo nominagara hanasou. Hanasou is a volition conjugation. You can review how to make invitations and volitions in lesson 34. I was working during the day while going to school at night. The main clause is, I was working during the day, and subordinate clause, while going to school at night, or yoru gakkou ni ikinagara. The whole sentence in Japanese is, yoru gakkou ni ikinagara hiru hataraite imashita. Yoru gakkou ni ikinagara hiru hataraite imashita. Hataraite imashita is in the past progressive tense, and you can review the progressive tense in lesson 33. Driving while using the phone is dangerous. The main clause is, driving is dangerous, and the subordinate clause is in the middle, while using the phone, which in Japanese is, denwa wo tsukai nagara. The whole sentence in Japanese is, denwa wo tsukai nagara unten suru no wa kiken desu. Denwa wo tsukai nagara unten suru no wa kiken desu. Everyone is singing a song while climbing the mountain. The main clause is, everyone is singing a song. Subordinate clause, while climbing the mountain, or in Japanese, yama ni nobori nagara. The whole sentence in Japanese, minna wa yama ni nobori nagara uta o utatte imasu. Minna wa yama ni nobori nagara uta o utatte imasu. You're not allowed to sleep while working. Main clause is, you're not allowed to sleep. Subordinate clause, while working, or shigoto shinagara. The whole thing in Japanese is, shigoto shinagara nete wa ikemasen. Shigoto shinagara nete wa ikemasen. Nete wa ikemasen is a prohibition conjugation, which you can review in lesson 38. To summarize, we use the temporal conjunction nagara to indicate while in Japanese, by attaching it to the conjunctive form of the verb. Nagara introduces a subordinate clause which must be said before the main clause in a Japanese sentence. Nagara indicates two actions done simultaneously by the same agent, and these two actions must be active actions that the agent does over a period of time. The tense and modality of the sentence are decided by how the verb in the main clause is conjugated, and not by the verb in the nagara form. And this ends our lesson on nagara. In the next lesson, we will learn another kind of while conjugation in Japanese, ta mama. See you then. Sayonara. If you're serious about becoming fluent in Japanese, it's important to practice daily, learn grammar, and build up vocabulary. My whole course is designed to give you a strong basic foundation in the Japanese language that you can build solidly upon. So please click like, share, or subscribe and watch the next video in the series. Nihongo no benkyou ni ganbatte kudasai. じゃあ、またね。